For more, Ben Cort, Director of Professional Relations for the University of Colorado Hospital, CDAR. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. Look, we could talk for an hour on this, but we've only got 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to keep my questions short for you. You've gone on the record to say that this is a bad idea. You're an opponent of legalizing marijuana. Why?
Let me just correct the language a little bit here, Phil. I'm an opponent of the commercialization of marijuana, commercialization of another vice substance, very, very poorly regulated. Yet again, yeah, we're at the beginning stages of ushering in a brand new industry, and we're doing a very poor job of regulating that industry from the onset. That's chiefly why I'm opposed to this.
What are you worried about?
We're letting these guys just run around unchecked and unchallenged. You know, the committees that are making the rules are typically made up of, you know, if there's 10 people on the committees, 8 of them are coming from the marijuana industry. This is no way to set up a brand new commercial industry, because they certainly are not going to check themselves when it comes to, they're not going to implement high ethical standards. They're going to implement standards that are going to allow them to make the most money they can. This is an addictive substance that has negative consequences, particularly for young people. And things are happening in Colorado as a result of the activism of this industry that I just don't think most people recognize, from THC-infused sodas to gummy bears to concentrates with 90% THC, something we have never seen before, ever in the world.
Marijuana is not new. I mean, that's not breaking news. I mean, this isn't something that was created overnight. I mean, there's been a gazillion studies been done on this. Why haven't we seen a study that says that it's bad for you, or it causes cancer, or something that's very harmful to your personal body? Where are those studies, the same ones we see with alcoholism, the same ones we see with cigarettes or any other vice, if you will?
It's a fantastic question. I'd encourage everybody to look at the meta-study that Dr. Nora Volkoff, the head of NIDA, published in the New England Journal of Medicine a couple of weeks ago, that really summarizes all of the research that we have, because there is quite a bit of it. It's actually one of the misconceptions out there in the world, and one that I think has been brought to us thanks to the marijuana industry. The other thing is, marijuana is not new, cannabis isn't new, but remember that naturally occurring THC content inside of cannabis is about 0.2%. We're looking at cannabis in Colorado, smoked form, that's 25+% THC. That is brand new. No, we have never seen that.
Okay,
and we have certainly never seen
let me just stop for a second. Let me explain to our audience. So different types of marijuana, essentially, is what you're saying. Some are worse for you than others. Explain the THC phenomenon and why that is so bad for people who use pot.
Well, THC is the part inside of the plant that intoxicates you. So the more THC there is, the higher a person gets. I've been sober since 1996. When I stopped, the national average was somewhere around 4%. Today, the national average is 12 to 13%. Just because of the industry in Colorado, we are more than double the national average, which has just exploded even in the last 15 years. So to say that this is a plant that we know well, to say it's even a plant, I think isn't appropriate anymore. To say that this is a substance that we know well, we just don't. We don't have research on it. We're gathering it. But again, we have never seen potency inside of marijuana like we have today, and the concentrates are a whole nother story. That is a 90% THC product.
I mean,
that's brand new stuff for us.
I somewhat agree with you that I think any industry that is addictive needs to be regulated. But if you look at what's happening in Colorado, you look at what's happening in Washington State, I mean, people can't get enough of the marijuana. I mean, there's lines that people want to do it, essentially, for whatever reason that they personally might have. The cat's out of the bag, right? I mean, we're just going to have to deal with this.
Absolutely not. No, we don't. I think that kind of defeatist mentality is exactly what the folks who are selling marijuana want us to own, and they want this to happen all over the country so that they can make more money off of us. We have rates of youth use in Colorado that are blowing the doors off of anything that anyone's ever seen and are seeing around the country. You give America 2 more years to see the data that actually is going to come out of Colorado, where we don't have to believe what the industry's telling us anymore. We'll have real, actual, peer-reviewed data. And no, this is not out of the bag, because while there's a lot of money being made, and I think your estimates were even maybe a little low at the beginning, there's 2 companies that'll do $1 billion. One makes THC-infused soda, the other one makes vaporizers, so you can smoke weed and weed concentrates anywhere you want. Well, people aren't going to stand for this.
You bring up some excellent points. I mean, I don't want my kids doing marijuana until they find out whether it's how lethal it is. I mean, what do you tell kids? I mean, what are parents telling their kids about this?
Well, my 9-year-old came home from school after his first day and said, Dad, the kids on the bus were saying that it's okay to smoke weed if you're inside your house, but you can't smoke weed outside of your house. That's my 3rd grader. So the way that this has worked down, yeah, so listen, here's the bottom line, and why I say that I'm not some big anti-marijuana opponent.
I'm sorry, I'm out of time, Ben. Like I said, I wish we had an hour to go. We're going to have you back again, I promise. Thank you very much.
Okay.
From
Thanks
St.
a lot,
Louis.
Phil.
You've been